Welcome, guys, to our second episode on beginnings. In the first episode, we spoke about the beginnings of everything. If you haven't watched it, please, the link should be somewhere up here.
Or down here.
Down here. Yeah. So please go and watch it so that you can be able to follow through. Right now, we want to talk about the beginnings of our faith. And just to pick up where we left off, guys. So it's important to understand the beginnings of everything because of reasons we will discuss throughout this episode. So who can tell us probably what was the beginning of their faith? Where can they look back and point and say, you know, this is where I had my experience, or this is where I can pinpoint and say, hey, my faith probably began at this point. Yeah.
I think before we even do that, we should define what faith is.
Uh-huh.
And I'd like to point us to the Bible. In Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In our lives specifically, we have faith in God. We have not seen God, but we believe in the existence of God and the sovereignty of God. And that is now what we're trying to define in today's video.
Right.
That's what we're trying to talk about in as far as the beginnings of our faith. Yes.
Okay, so what you're trying to define is basically, when did I believe that God exists? Or at what point
in my life
that I believe that God surely exists? Because that is when I had faith in God.
And not only that, but also at what point did I not only realize that God exists, but start living like God exists.
Like God exists. Very good. All right. Anyone with something to share?
Personal story.
Personal story or an
Tell us.
experience.
To be clear.
Testify.
Testify, brother. Testimony is takua.
So,
So when I was a young boy, I was a boy. Still young, yes. But I'm a young one. I was a young boy. For me, it didn't quite occur to me why I was going to church, because my parents were very staunch Christians. Every weekend you were supposed to go to church. But for me, I didn't understand why church was boring, didn't make sense. The choirs, it was just boring. I couldn't get to church hivi, you couldn't just wait to go home
and play
soccer or watch movies,
Marbles,
play video games,
tumia
show,
sadaka.
ice cream, those things.
popsicles.
So for me, it didn't make sense. Church never used to make sense to me at all. The aspect of Christ dying on the cross was something to me. It didn't just make sense. It was just a story.
The myth or a fable?
A fable. And then I remember this particular incident that happened to me when I was in school. Because in the school that I was in, it was a boarding school, and attaining high marks was in every subject was something admirable, and it's something everyone really wanted to. Even if your parents came and heard that you're getting very good marks, they would really be pleased with you. So it's something that I really desired to have to experience it. And so I asked God to help me pass in math. A particular paper, I remember, just before we started that paper, I just said, God, please help me pass this exam. And it's not like I was not prepared. Of course I was prepared for the paper. But I just asked God, help me to pass this exam and probably be among the first students in this particular subject, in this particular paper. And you know what happened? Like after the paper, our results used to come out very quickly. So I remember 2 days later, the paper came and I really passed, and I was very excited. So for me, I was like, God actually heard my prayer. As to whether that is something that, of course, subsequently, the days I used to, because in my mind I was like, this is the trick. but of passing exams,
And you
and
just pray.
I just pray and you don't read. So
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
Ulikuwa unapitia.
So irrespective of that, to me this particular incident, this particular situation helped me realize that actually there's someone who hears me. I think God can hear my prayer. And then so I remember the next weekend when I went to church, I mean, someone was telling me, someone was, the way you go to church, God is good all the time. So I resonated with that message. When someone was saying God is good, yes, I could testify from my own experience that God is good. Yeah. And for me that, I think, one thing led to another in terms of my spiritual life. I started understanding this whole concept of Christ and, alikufa, Christ died on the cross for my sins. How is this so? So, getting to study the word and believing. For me, that's where it all started. Yeah.
So it became more personal for you.
Yeah, for me. It wasn't just a fable or something.
Yeah.
I started becoming personal for me.
And it doesn't mean that's the whole of your faith.
No.
It just means that's the point that you can say,
spark. Yes.
at this point, I actually started believing that someone cares for me.
Exactly.
Or someone can answer my
Who you
prayer.
can't pray.
Yes. Someone I can't see actually listens to me. Yeah?
On that prayer note, I remember when we went to, we had a church fun day. It was at Nairobi Primary School. On this day, guys had fun and all, and people enjoyed themselves and all that. Then now, the guys for Deco came to pick their stuff with their lorry. So when things already packed and the Deresha ignition and he wanted to move, he couldn't because he was stuck. Ajabu ni he was stuck on some mud, some kitu kidogo yenye hata bike ya pau inapita tu.
Pau na bike.
Sio na yuko hapa. It was some little mud that you wouldn't understand mbona hii lori inaamua tu kukwama.
Lakini haikuwa inasonga.
Na haikuwa inasonga,
So wakajaribu kusukuma.
Watu walijaribu kusukuma, wakasukuma, almost 20-30 minutes and nothing. It's not moving.
Nyinyi mlikuwa wapi?
Sisi ni hao ndio watu wa kusukuma.
Sisi ndio watu wa kusukuma.
Ampo ndani.
So we're busy there, tunasukuma, but nothing is happening. Then this lady just comes from nowhere and said, "You guys, why don't you just pray?" Then reluctantly tukaamua, let's just pray. I mean, it's the norm. Tumezoea kuomba, acha tu tuombe tu for the sake of it. Alafu pia yeye asione vibaya tu. Asione ati sisi ni watu wa Mungu na tunalenga kuomba. So guys decide, tukashika mkono hapo and we prayed. And we gave it just a small push na ikatoka. It was so real to me. Hiyo ilikuwa imenivutia sana, like it's something that we should have begun with. It's something I believe if we began with prayer before pushing that lorry, then we wouldn't have stayed there for long. It was an experience for me. That's where I used to pray then, but not sio ile unajua, like unaomba juu ni kawaida kuomba, and also because guys know you as a Christian, so unataka ukiulizwa swali huko nje useme unaomba, I pray. But you don't know the meaning of that prayer. You're just praying, but that experience gave me a whole new meaning of prayer. It became so personal that unajua ukiomba auombi tu, you don't just kneel down and pray. You believe it.
Right. And it's not that you are not. It's just something that began, like it's an experience that began your actual walk.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you are walking just as a robot, but then at that point you actually began your walk because of this simple experience that hit you. Yeah.
Just a small side note. Just from the few experiences that we've had, people usually take it to be that for your faith to begin, it has to be maybe a really bad incident that actually happened, you know, like, oh, maybe I lost someone, you know, or I got injured, or I fell really sick, you know, to the brink of death, and then for some reason the doctor said, huyu yake imeisha, you know,
kujeni mwambie
kujeni tu mwambie kwa heri. The best thing to do is to take them home, you know,
make them
but
comfortable like that.
you know,
But it doesn't have to
it
be.
doesn't have to be.
Alright.
You can hear from something as small as lori imekataa kusonga, watu wakaamua kuomba,
Yeah.
lori kasonga,
Yeah.
just
That's
even
Very
that
nice.
was just enough for one person to feel, and yet truly there's someone who has power over all these things.
Thank you, and thank you for that perspective. And we'll come and expound it further a bit later on. Jimmy and then Brian.
Okay.
It was today we were reading something from a business mogul in Kenya. It's a story of, for those of us who are interested in business, and you know, I think everybody knows him, Chris Kirubi.
All right. I want you to share that a bit later also. Yeah.
All right.
Let me say something. I think I've been too quiet. Comments nanipita tu. But the reason why we're discussing or people are sharing the different experiences is so that we can, you know, spark this conversation that we need a personal experience with God, and not as a group or because our parents say so. Like Monica was saying, when they're small, they used to be just told to go to church. So you go to church because your parents say you have to go. Or you do things because your friends do it, and it somehow looks cool. Because Brian does it, so let me do it. But you don't really know what you're doing, and you're even if you're asked, tell me about this faith of yours, what do you stand for? You can't really, you know, explain to someone to understand who God really is.
In short, you're hiding. You're hiding in a crowd.
Yes, you're hiding in a crowd.
Yeah, you're hiding in a crowd of people, parents, or experiences. Maybe you are believing in things because other people believe in.
Yes.
Probably I believe because of Zebi's experience. Yeah?
Faith by
Like
association.
by association. Yeah, yo gari litoka, you know, yo lori litoka. Why? Zebi alinishow, you know. You're hiding under people's experience.
It's kind of like you know, a child does something bad, and the first thing was, mzazi wako ni nani? Ati usi ni mtoto wako, you know. Faith by association.
Yes.
So I think we have to, you know, be aware, make a conscious decision to believe in God, to have faith in God. Now we're talking about faith. Knowing what faith is, where do I begin in my personal life? So that's generally what we're trying to
bring out.
There's something Brian mentioned about business mogul, and in the Bible there was this business character, Nicodemus, who so Nico visited Jesus, you know, at night, you know, because he was rich and all that, and he was really respected in the society. So he visited Jesus in the night, and the whole thing was he had that curiosity which spoke about in the last session. There was something in him that wanted to investigate more, and so when he went to this secret place, akacheki hakuna watu, then he found Jesus, alafu akamuuliza, wow, sa hii form ya faith ni gani? You know, and then Jesus told him Jesus told him that, at the end of the day, the spirit is like wind. It blows where it goes. Nicodemus was looking for, I'm just saying this in a sense to somehow tell our viewers as well that you don't I feel like depending on a personal experience, sometimes is not sufficient to an extent, and that's why faith is important. Because what happens if in my life I've never add something like
death
what
and
this guy's
or
experience,
thought about it as
or even
Yeah.
thought about it as faith.
yeah.
So that can raise questions. I can start feeling insecure. Boss,
Yeah.
kwani sasa na get my revelation.
You just rationalized the experience.
Yeah, and probably rationalize the experience. So and even like modern psychology say that things happen to people who are even not Christian that makes them get to a turning point in their lives. I don't know if you get. Anyone can get to a turning point in their life.
Yeah.
So I believe faith is something that is not heavily reliant, so to speak. Those experiences are like substance. They are not the real thing, but they are just something dropped along the way to kind of like guide you.
Sure.
And I want us to just before we go into expounding that experience of faith, when I want us to pinpoint experiences of people even in the Bible. For example, when you look at someone like Jacob's father was, we can call him a believer, but then Jacob's story is told so many times in the Bible about experiences that he had, and
Who was Jacob's father, by the way?
Jacob's father was Isaac.
I just want
Isaac is the father, is the son to Abraham.
Abraham.
the father of
Genesis.
faith.
Genesis. I can't tell.
Did you find it ironic his dad was called the father of faith? His
So
great-grandfather.
so think about it. He's coming from a lineage of people who are of faith. But then when you look at his life, you can pinpoint many instances where you think probably this is where he met or he began his faith, even though he was living a life covered by people of faith. Later, maybe when he came out of the umbrella of his father or his grandfather, see feather.
Carry on.
Probably at that time where he met his father. Maybe when he came out of that umbrella is when he actually had his experience of faith. So sometimes and just to overemphasize that point, you may be living in a cocoon or in this unbroken egg of faith, of someone else's faith, and you may need to experience your own faith outside the faith that you are relying on, so that you can begin your own journey, not to leave someone else's journey.
All right. We were talking about Jacob and trying to see a point in his life where he came to a personal experience with God. And for me, well, you can find that story in the book of Genesis 32, 20 to 35. There's an instance where the context is he stole his brother's birthright from the father and was on the run. And the brother Esau was pursuing him. And he got to a point in the night, he wrestled with an angel. He didn't know it's an angel. He just thought it's the brother who had caught up with him. So he fought with this guy the entire night until in the morning, or the break of dawn, that the angel overpowered him. And that's when he realized, I'm not wrestling with just a mortal man. And I think for me that's the point where he actually has like a one-on-one connection with God, and not a sort of faith that is an umbrella of his forefathers or his father or his family.
All right.
Yeah.
So he can point out and say, this is my own experience with God.
Yes.
Not my father's experience or anything. So Paul and then Toby.
Actually, his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. So I believe that mark.
Yes.
A
Exactly.
complete change.
Exactly.
And that's not
Genesis?
the only
32.
Genesis 32, beginning 20, right? 25 around there. You can check out the story. Probably it might resonate with your own experience or not, but it can give you an example of someone coming to a beginning of their faith. Yeah. So Toby.
So me niko na swali na maybe sijui kama ni swali ama ni comment about hii maneno ya faith. So faith is it an experience with God? And what is its value? Because there's a verse, some I think it's in Hebrews. It talks about how with faith you can have faith to move a mountain, but without love it is irrelevant. So is faith a complete concept? Is it everything? Is it the foundation of something? What? It's a confusing question, but I'm asking: is faith complete?
Yeah, and I want Paul to answer that, because I think we shared something with him, a while back. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it is 1 Corinthians 13, which talked about the faith, but without love, it is nothing. You can just check it out.
1 Corinthians
13. If it is not, then it is 2 Corinthians 13.
1 Corinthians 13.
But to answer him,
1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah.
So if you have all these things, but without love, it is nothing.
Sounding Simba.
The important
Sounds like Simba.
the importance
Value,
of, or the value of faith, from 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5 to 9, talks about
The
I
steps.
think just read. It is
Yeah.
called Peter's ladder.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
verse 5.
2 Peter
1,
Chapter
1,
1,
verse
verse
5.
1 verse
5.
It's
2 Peter 1 verse 5.
It
It's
says,
not there?
Yeah, it
and
is.
beside this, giving all diligence,
Yes.
add to your faith virtue.
Add to your faith
Virtue.
virtue. So it means without faith, you cannot add
Add
virtue.
So faith is like the first rung.
Foundation.
It's the first
Yeah.
rung of the ladder.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you, without that, you can't move up the ladder.
Yeah.
Because you see, that is actually a ladder showing Christian
Christian
growth.
Mm.
So without faith,
Yeah.
you cannot have virtue. You cannot have a roof
Yeah.
without the walls.
Foundation.
I think it is very important, to just read the whole ladder so that we get the
Yeah.
Bible what's
Fine,
going
fine.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So First Peter chapter,
Five.
2 Peter, sorry, chapter 1 verse 5 says, and beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity.
Next.
Which is love.
Which next verse?
For if these things be in you and abound, they make you that ye shall be neither barren
Yeah.
nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah. We see a farmer planting crops,
Yeah.
seeds. Yeah. He desires to have a fruit. Same with our lives as Christians or whoever we are. There needs to be some growth. Even in your career, there needs to be growth. So faith actually is the basis of our Christian growth.
The beginning.
Yeah, the beginning.
Yeah, the beginnings.
So I think
Beginning
that
of
is the value that faith has.
Yeah.
And more so, Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, without faith you cannot please God. And pleasing God means you are sinless. Yeah? And that means you will be able to see God.
All right.
That means eternal life. So faith leads us to eternal life,
Yeah.
which I believe most of us.
Yeah. So it's a whole journey. Yeah.
I just
And
wanted to
just
add
as we are coming to a close, Och, you add on to that, and then I'll bring in the aspect that I told you to remind me from Zebi. Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to the illustration he was giving of a farmer growing things. Without faith, it's like a farmer going to a shamba yenye iko na miiba, alafu anatupa seeds hapo, ana expect to grow. Haita grow. Itakuwa choked. You know, that's the same thing. It's like not having faith and then doing good works. Unasaidia poor people, but you don't have faith. Just to come back to Hebrews 11 verse 6 to read it as we close. But without faith, it is impossible to please him, that is God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Yeah.
Okay, so to just tie this whole thing up, maybe we can do a summary. So we began with the beginnings of our faith, personal experiences. I think Mogs and Zebi shared what when they look back, they can say, hey, this is where it began. And now I want to bring in the aspect that Zebi brought in the first episode, that when you see or when you look back and say, hey, this is where my faith began, even later when you act out of faith, you can realize it and say, there was a time I had faith. How did I begin having faith? Yeah? And come back and say, I want to have that experience again. How did I come by it? You know, what did I do to even cultivate that faith? But without that beginning, then it's impossible to come back. Yeah? So it helps you along the way, because the Bible says a righteous man can fall even 7 times, but they still get up all those times that they fall. Yeah. So eventually when you come to a place and say, I have fallen, you can come back to the point where you believed, because you can trace your beginnings, right? Yeah. And I think that is one of the most important example of why, or lessons that of why we should trace our beginnings. Yeah. But now in the next episode, I want us to talk about, I've not had this beginning. Yeah. How can I maybe look back and say, this is where my beginnings were? Or how can I have this beginning experience? Yeah. Does it have to be, like we've described? And that's why I think we want the story about the business mogul in Kenya. And maybe we can share a bit more from the Bible, probably pick up from the story of Nicodemus. Where does this begin? Yeah? I've never had that experience. How can I have that experience? Yeah? All right. So maybe we can sing a song and then we will close this session. Yeah. All right.
Go.
There will be no death. There will be no death. No surpassing joy. Nothing in existence. If there were no God, all would be dead. But we know that God is with us. And we know His Majesty reigning now, the King eternal. Yes, we know the victory. Yes, we know that God is with us. And we know His Majesty reigning now, the King eternal. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. Reigns in majesty. Yes, we know.